Hey, thanks for putting on another episode of the Top 8 Podcast. I'm Matt Patisse.
I'm your co-host, TJ, as always, and I had somebody comment recently on one of my posts, and they're like, is your last name as always? I'm like, no, I'm just saying, like, I'm always your co-host, man. It's TJ.
I think
I
your
thought it was
last
so
name
funny.
is as always.
From now on, it's TJ as always. I'm going to make that my Instagram handle from
You're
now on.
going to be Dr. as always soon.
Shout out. Dr. TJ as always.
When he gets his PhD, Dr. as always.
All right, I'll take it.
That's actually great. I didn't realize it because you do always say as always.
Somebody I think it was a DM actually. They were like, "Is your like when you say that is your last?" I was like, "No, you're
why? Why are you saying as always? Would it change? Is there a reason why it would possibly change? What's the deal here?
I don't know. It's just like it came to me, and now it's just kind of stuck.
It's a crutch.
Yeah,
it's
it is.
a crutch. All right, Doctor.
Consistency, okay?
Doctor, as always, today we were talking about the G spot. I mean, the G note.
Pretty much. We are doing. You've probably heard the viral sound clip of like all of the intros of all of the big songs that you're skipping through your playlist. We are doing our
one that I made.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
And everybody else stole.
Yeah.
We are basically doing the most iconic song intros that either get you hyped up or it's just like so immediately recognizable that there's no denying it.
I feel like we could just use my TikTok sound and just go through it. But
yeah.
I've actually changed it up. I actually went to that sound this morning when making my list, and I was like, all right, which ones am I going to include and which ones am I not going to include in here? What do you have at number 8 for the most iconic song intro?
So I feel like I'm going to have a very different list than you because some of these are very personal where like I hear this intro and I like immediately go feral.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few objective ones and that is my number 8, which is Dear Maria, because I don't like to give any sort of time to All Time Low if I can help it, but the cough is undeniable.
I have that on my list too.
Yeah, I figured.
So it's there. You can't, when the song intro doesn't include a note.
Yeah.
And it's instantly recognizable. It's an iconic song intro.
It's tough
you
to
have
deny.
To put it on.
So had to put it there. Number 8. It deserves the spot, I guess. What's your 8?
I have at number 8 Came Out Swinging by the Wonder Years.
Of course.
It's kind of,
We should have these up because I actually don't know what the intro of this is like.
Yeah.
For me, this isn't like instantly recognizable, so.
Well, that's because you also don't really listen to the Wonder Years.
Exactly, yeah. You're probably not going to know a few of mine.
If you're a fan and you're skipping through it, the second you hear this, you know what's about to happen.
Okay. This kind of reminds me. Yeah, okay. You know, shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the part 2, I made up my mind, my mind's made up, my mind is made up, made up my mind, my mind's made up. Like it's
yeah. Okay.
It's one of those things where it's just like it's also that like slow draw and then right into it.
Yeah, no, I have heard this actually. It kind of reminds me of like the little noise lead in for Second Sucks by A Day to Remember, just that like slow build of just like static almost, and I'm like, that Second Sucks.
yeah. And so you hear that build up, and then the like little background, of my mind is made up, my mind is made up, I made up my mind, and then boom, move
That's
all my
pretty
shit
good.
into my, like, and then it just kicks off, and then it just doesn't stop for the whole song.
Right. No, that's good. That's good. My number 7 is, I know this is going to be on your list. Actually, I'm a Fake. Just the spoken word aspect. This is probably my favorite The Used song.
Mm-hmm.
So when they started playing this when we were young, I was like, okay, this is my one chance to like go hard for The Used. But yeah, so recognizable. It's iconic.
I'm not going to say
We're going to talk
about that right
later,
now. Number 7 for me is Dear Maria. And so we kind of already touched on that. So like our first couple of ones are easy to just run through. But yeah, that cough is iconic, and it just has to be on the list.
Yeah, they did that video recently too where they got like everybody in the alternative music scene, like Avril and all these different bands to like do the little cough.
Yeah.
And they like clipped it all together, which I was like, okay, I'll give you props for doing that. My number 6, don't think you're gonna have this one, is the opening riff too, Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
Like shit's about to go down. You're already anticipating that breakdown just from that first riff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's definitely
it's too
like
hype.
it's an iconic intro, and immediately you're about to break stuff. Like just by hearing those, like what's coming, and you're like, all right, let's smash.
Yes.
Let's smash it.
There's a reason they play it twice on their set list.
Do you remember when it was like a little bit of a trend? Did you have those like break rooms where it was like you would go into the room
like,
and you would like destroy shit?
Yeah.
They had one in Toronto years ago. I think it shut down during the pandemic, but like I haven't seen any of those in a long time. I feel like doing one of those
with that song
playing would be
that's a vibe.
You wouldn't need therapy anymore. That's all the therapy
that is
you
therapy,
need.
bro.
That is therapy for real.
Yeah, for real.
Number 6 for me, I have a newer emo song, and I don't know if you'll know it, but it's Hot Mulligan. How do you know it's not Armadillo Shallows?
So scared.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately
intro,
just so scared. I'm singing. I need to sing the rest of the whole song now. Like, just that's all I need to hear is those 2 words. So scared.
It's something you immediately like belt back to the band, and you know you're hooked for the rest of the song.
Yeah. Immediately.
That's cool. Hot Mulligan's never been one of those bands, but I've said this in so many episodes that I need to listen to them more.
Never been one of those bands? Did I just hear those words?
Yeah, I know.
They are the band, sir. They are the band.
They put out a new song recently, and it was pretty sick, actually.
Every song that they put out is sick. Okay, Every song they put out is better than their last song. Okay, that's what makes Hot Mulligan so great.
The ups.
You keep on wondering, how are they possibly going to top this? There's no way that they have to drop a flop next, right? Because everything's been so hot, and then they drop another song, and you're like, "Holy shit, this is better than the last single. It's better than the last album."
Okay.
That's the Hot Mulligan effect.
I'll give it to you. All right. I mean, that starts now for me, I guess.
What do you have at number 5?
Number 5, Counting Worms. Bing, 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 bing. Dude, like, as soon as you start hearing that, you already know. So break stuff is one thing, but you know that arf is coming.
Yeah, see, I think that's why I didn't put this one on the list, is because, like, talking about intros, I was kind of like, oh, the arf is kind of like the part of this song, and that's not.
But it just like
intro.
It rings through the whole song. That is just like
because the song's a minute.
It's a minute long.
The whole
thing's an intro, really. But yeah, I don't know. That is always like it comes on the playlist, and it's just I don't know.
That's fair.
Feels you.
That's fair. My number 5 is Fat Lip.
Ah, okay.
It's like, one of those iconic pop punk songs that, those opening notes, immediately you know what you're getting. It hypes you up. You know you're about to like sing rap to a pop punk song and it's iconic. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, good pick.
What do you have at number 4? This is going to be a quick list that we're just running through, by the way.
I feel like there's only so much you can say about these intros, but maybe we'll like actually add in like the little sound bits into it so that everybody can hear them. My number 4, the opening riff for One Step Closer. Okay. And I think this is because like recently I've heard 3 or 4 bands cover this song, and it's always like Silverstein. I've seen them do it 3 times now, and it's just like dead silent. And then all of a sudden it's just da-na-na-na-na-na-na, and like I immediately start jumping and I'm ready to throw hands because like Linkin Park is one of my favorite bands of all time. Hybrid Theory may be my favorite record of all time. So anytime that I hear the song pops off, I could have also put the opening bass line for A Place for My Head also would have worked here, but I went with One Step.
I feel like Linkin Park has a bunch of them. Even like Paper Cut, I feel like immediately immediately I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go crazy now.
Or even Numb, like the lead in for Numb.
Numb probably has the most iconic like that,
the most recognizable
like
new
riff.
Metal. Yeah,
riff. Yeah.
No, but yeah, One Step Closer, good one.
For me, number 4, Blink-182. Damn it.
I
feel like it's interchangeable with Fat Lip, right? Like you hear those opening notes, those opening lines. It's also one of the first things that a lot of people learned how to play on guitar. So it's immediately an iconic pop punk intro.
Totally. I don't know if you've heard this one, so I have it queued up just in case, but Danger Wild Man by the Devil Wears Prada is my number 3. You heard this?
No. Play it.
Just immediately like...
Okay.
Just screaming, I know a ghost.
And just like get right into it.
Like this is also a recency bias for me because I literally saw them last night. And I like kind of kept my cool for their first 2 songs that came out to Mammoth and then Watchtower. But then they were like, all right, everybody, you know what this is. And it's just like, boom, I know a ghost. Jumping every single person in that. I run into the pit. I got hit right in the jaw. I'm not going to lie, it kind of hurts today. But this has always been one of those songs where the intro just immediately catches you and you're hooked and just like ready to rage.
Yeah. And when the song starts out so strong, like there's something about it, right?
It's like this one and my number one are immediately like feral fuel. Like no matter what I'm doing, I hear it and I'm just like ready to fucking throw down.
I'm a big fan of songs jumping right on into it.
Yes.
Compared to some other songs where, you know, they're kind of drawn out and you know that it's good and it's going to get good. And that middle part like has that really big catchy hook or line in there that you're like waiting for, but you kind of need to get through that big buildup.
Yeah. There's something good about a good buildup in a song, but getting into it like this or my number one is just like immediately everybody's off their feet.
Yeah.
So there's no, like, that is like your set opener. That should be like what you come out to. So much energy. Yeah, those are the songs.
My number 3 is Welcome to the Black Parade.
That's my number 2.
Yeah.
Gino, baby. I had to be on here.
It's one of those things where like I almost didn't want to put it on here.
I didn't want to either, but it's the one note that summons an entire generation of emo kids. Like, you can't not put it on here.
Yeah, I was just, you know, you have to give props, like kind of like similar to Dear Maria with like a cough is immediately recognizable. It's one note, immediately recognizable. But there's just some other ones that I just wanted to put on here that I couldn't, but I was like, I have to put this here.
Yeah.
What else can you say about it, right? Like you don't even need to play the note. You could just say G note and immediately everyone knows what song you're talking about, what band you're talking about.
Probably the most memed section of a song ever, except for Arf Arf at this point too.
Possibly why I didn't want to put it on this list.
Probably why, because we had that conversation recently too.
It's like I'm over
the meme,
the Welcome to the Black Parade meme.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
The piano, and then you change into the emo garb.
I'm done. I'm done.
You want to do your number 2 since that was my number 2?
Yeah, my number 2 is Downfall of Us All.
Oh shit, that's my number 1, baby. Obviously, you could have fucking guessed that. Anybody could have guessed that.
Yeah. So with that one, it's, you know, it's so different with just like vocals going into the instrumentals.
Yeah. The gang chant. Da 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 da.
And if
like,
done
the
wrong,
whole crowd going.
If done wrong, it's super cringy.
Yes.
And I think that's why I think we got to give it to A Day to Remember for doing it in such a tasteful way and such a hyped way.
Yeah.
That like, yeah, if they started out with gang vocals of doing the instrumental part and then into the instrumental, it could have been so cheesy. It could have been so bad, but it ended up being so good. And there's something so special about that.
Yeah. It's an obvious pick for me. I also considered the intro to Mr. Highway, because that one also rings close to me. And I said Second Sucks earlier, just that like noise that builds into the fight. But I don't know. Downfall, there's something about it. Like, genuinely, you start to hear the chant and you're off your feet and jumping. Like, no matter what. So, I don't know. It's just too good of a pick. Well, what you got at number 1?
My number 1, you had on your list lower. It is the most iconic emo intro of all time.
By The Used.
The Used, I'm a Fake.
Yep.
So it's one of those things. There were so many that I wanted to put on here that I just didn't. But yeah, I honestly think that this is the most iconic emo intro. I think that this intro is more iconic than the G note with My Chem, by the way. Just because I think
the G note's just bigger. Like, it's just more mainstream,
it's more popular,
more widespread. Yeah.
But like, this is just so fucking emo.
Yeah.
Oh, like this is like defines.
This is the most emo like poetry you're ever gonna fucking hear in your life.
You're like if you want to show someone like what is emo, you just show them this song and this intro, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, I get it. You need therapy, but I get it."
Yeah,
you know, like what? Like your parents ask you what is emo, just show them I'm a fake.
Yeah,
like that's emo. But also, I wanted to put From First to Last Emily on here.
Yeah,
I wanted to put Cute Without the E on here.
I was just thinking, even though I'm not a big Panic fan, I feel like the intro to I Write Sins is
that should be on
recognizable.
Here.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so many intros that are so iconic, especially
even the first strums of If It Means a Lot to You too. The da-na-na.
There's so many that like this was a hard list to make.
Number's got a lot actually.
So there's a lot of iconic emo intros for sure.
Yeah.
I want to know, because because there are Misery Business, because there are so many iconic intros within emo, like what do you think should be at the top of the list?
Yeah, another one I didn't put on my list. Writing on the Walls, Under Oath, just the strumming of the guitar.
Even A Boy Brushed Red.
A Boy Brushed Red, yeah.
Like, that's another iconic intro.
I know. I should have put that one on my list.
Artist in the Ambulance by Thrice is another one.
Yeah.
Let's Get Fucked Up and Dive. Soundtrack. Like, there's so many iconic emo intros that it's like, I think that's another reason why we kind of
became a staple of the genre too. Like, there's only so much you can say, but there's like 100 you could mention here.
Yeah, like we could do a top 80 on this one in the same amount of time as a regular episode, because like you said, there's not much to say about the actual intro besides, yeah, I like this intro, or it gets me hyped.
I know.
But I feel like
you should have taken some fan suggestions on this one and read them out. Maybe we'll do that for like another time that we do.
Hey, maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
Leave a comment on YouTube with your most iconic intros, your favorite intros to songs, and we'll come back and revisit this episode with your best takes and your best comments. If you're listening on Spotify, you can also leave a comment on Spotify. We do check those, so please leave a comment on Spotify, give us 5 stars, rate and review, subscribe, follow, all of that.
Or just jump over to our Instagram, leave us a comment on whatever will be the eventual clip from this episode, and we'll pull some stuff from there too.
We'll compile a whole bunch and then come back and do a fan version of this episode of the most iconic intros in the scene.
Totally.
All right, well, that's that. And thanks for listening to another episode of the Top 8 Podcast.
We'll see you next week.